My name is Axel Post, and the man next to me is Tate Stone Frasina. Well, not really next to me, but kind of
In
next to me on the screen. And this is Thinking Right Center. And today we are going over the properly timed, I might add, Chicago Cubs. We didn't plan it out
us.
this way, of course, but big news with the Cody Bellinger signing coming a couple days ago. So good timing for us. So I will jump right in, go over what we normally go over. We'll start with what they've lost. They've lost Heimer Candelario and Marcus Stroman are the two big ones. Pretty sizable losses. Honestly, I know they only had Heimer for
Yeah.
half a season, um, but I don't think they're going to feel it a ton. We'll go over that when we go over the lineup. And they've gained. So on here, I have them. I have Cody Bellinger, kind of, because obviously Cody Bellinger was on the Cubs, but always it does feel like the Cubs just gained a player. We
Yeah, it feels like free agents. I mean, like a big new free agent signing right now.
yeah, it's yeah. Like I couldn't leave them off of the players that they've gained. I can just act like Cody Bellinger was always coming back to the Cubs because
Yeah.
he certainly wasn't, and there were times where I didn't think he was going to. Then the next big signing, honestly, their only other big signing was Shota Imanaga. And then some smaller moves, some weird moves. David Peralta, Garrett
Yes.
Cooper, Jorge Alfaro, discount Jason Momoa,
Yep.
and Dom Smith.
Dom Smith, Sleepy Dom Smith. They also
Sleepy
also
Dom.
yeah, Hector Neris, which is like
Oh, yes.
that there's a splitter. Cool.
Right. Yeah. I totally spaced that they signed Hector Neris. I actually like that signing too. So,
Yeah.
but we'll talk about that. And then the trade, they only made one, sizable trade, but a pretty big deal. They got Michael Bush and Yency Almonte for Jackson Ferris and Zaire Hope. Ferris and Hope were, I think they're both not even 20 yet, or
Mm.
Ferris might have just turned 20. I know Zaire Hope is not 20 years old yet. So trading future for the current. And we'll move on to the lineup.
Yeah.
So I guess we can start at the top because it's also their middle infield. Nico Horner and Dansby Swanson are two of the best WAR accumulators in the league.
I mean, yeah, I'm just like pretty good hitters, but like where they really shine is on defense. And like I'm looking forward to that middle infield. But that's just such a cool middle infield.
Yeah, I mean, they're just very cool. Dansby Swanson is, I think, I don't know. I don't know how many people watch the shortstop rankings. I have him at sixth.
Yeah.
And I think, he kind of flirts with on a year by year basis the exactly league average hitting and a little bit above league average hitting. I think he's an above average hitter. I think you kind of see it with the free agent acclimation process where that first year in a new place can be a little bit tough. And it's not
Yeah.
like he had a bad year. He certainly didn't have a bad year. He had put up a four something WAR.
Yeah, he's still a great player. He is like number one years of being a Braves fan and watching him on the Braves. He is the streakiest hitter alive. So like he has spurts where you're like, oh my God, like Dansby Swanson is the best shortstop in baseball. And then he has spurts where it's like, at least we have defense.
Yeah, well,
Uh,
that's what
yeah,
gives him the value, right? Like fielding
yeah,
doesn't slump.
exactly, exactly.
Playing an elite shortstop never slumps. So, and it's playing an elite second base. If you're Nico Horner, is the same thing. Both of these guys are going to give you elite up the middle defense. They're going to hit 1 and 2 in your lineup. Nico's not going to give you any power, but for what he lacks in power, he's going to make up for in stolen bases.
Yeah, no, Nico, I think last year really like kind of came into his own, like figured out his game exactly.
He's he's underrated at this point.
Oh yeah, he's not
'Cause,
really talked about.
well, he doesn't do anything sexy
Yeah.
besides field.
Yeah. Speaking of sexy, Dansby Swanson's sexy.
Both of them objectively handsome up the middle infield for the Cubs.
It works. Sex
It does work.
sells. Go Cubs.
And then you have in the 3 hole and fan graphs, you have the left fielder Ian Happ, who I heard I heard somebody say that Ian Happ is the Michelob Ultras of left fielders or just corner outfielders in general. And what they meant by this was
Okay.
it's always pretty good.
Okay.
Like
Nice.
it's not your favorite beer,
But you'll take it.
but it's good. And that's Ian Happ. Ian Happ is good just every year. He's solid 3.5 F4
Yeah.
player. Is going to hit like 20-ish home runs. Gets on base a lot.
Yeah.
And I know he's won at least one Gold Glove. Has he won two?
I'm not sure. I know he has one.
I know he has one. I don't think, but Gold Gloves really don't matter because he's not that great of a defender.
No.
Juan Soto being on the ballot a couple of years ago kind of
Oh my
sealed.
God, that was so funny. I sent that to you immediately.
Yeah, that kind of sealed the fate of the seriousness of Gold Gloves.
Yeah.
And then the 4-hole and fan graphs, you have Cody Bellinger. And now this is obviously the most polarizing player that we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
What did you think of the deal? We haven't even talked about. I haven't texted you at
Yeah.
all.
We talked about how weird that deal is, like, yearly opt-outs. We both agreed he's not worth 30 mil.
Mhm.
But I think if you're the Cubs and you have that money, why not spend it? Because his upside is outrageous, and if you get back bad Cody Bellinger, like, I don't know, at least you have really good defense again, right?
Right. That is the thing about Bellinger is that I remember he came up as a first baseman,
Yeah,
and
yeah. And then
then he was like,
moved.
"Oh yeah, I'm actually elite in center field." It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah,
He, I think this
yeah,
is
he's crazy. Yeah,
they needed us. They needed Bellinger back
yeah,
because I love Pete Crow Armstrong. Like we talked about him, I remember like briefly. He's a generational talent defensively, but he struck out 26% of the time in double A and high A. He's has a high whiff rate. He swings like his approach isn't great. He's a great athlete, and I think he will figure it out and be a good player. But the best move for his development is to be in the minor leagues right now.
yeah. I mean, I think obviously still really young, needs time. He's exciting to see him in spring training right now. But yeah, like his hitting is definitely not cut up to his defense is pretty outrageous.
His defense, if he was called up, they don't sign Bellinger and he opens the season in center field, he's got a shot to win the Gold Glove, which we
Yeah,
just said doesn't mean anything, but he's got a shot to be the best defender in center field from day one.
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
But they don't need to do that anymore. You have Cody Bellinger, who, we're all looking at the same stats in terms of why he's not getting the big long-term deal, right? His batted ball
yeah,
data doesn't go up to, he's not going to hit 307 again unless you see even more improvement, which I
yeah. And it's
can't
just, I
see.
mean, the inconsistency is insane.
It's crazy. I mean, he's won an MVP and then he was probably the worst qualified hitter in baseball for a good stretch of time. And then
Yeah,
last year happened.
exactly. It makes no sense.
And I think it's a good Bellinger, I think, makes out really good in the deal. And I think the Cubs make out pretty well because I don't think he's ever going to be as bad as he was.
Oh no.
Right. So I think the worst he gets is being just an average player and he puts up
Yeah. And I
two.
mean, Bellinger, it's perfect. Like he goes off, you can opt out and get a long-term deal. He doesn't go off. He has the safety of getting that extra 2 years of that deal.
Right. So I think it works out well for both of them. It was definitely a position of need because, like we said with PCA, I was not comfortable calling him up. And, as much as I love Mike Talkman and as much as he played pretty well last year,
Yeah.
I'd much rather have Cody Bellinger.
Yeah, exactly.
And then right field is Seiya Suzuki.
Yes.
What do you think about Seiya Suzuki?
I like Seiya Suzuki. I think he's a good player. I don't think like he's a star per se, but I think he's a pretty good player.
So here's where I'll disagree. I love Seiya Suzuki.
Let's
I
go.
think he's my hot take is that Suzuki finishes with a higher F4 than Bellinger.
Oh, nice. Why
That's
do you think that? What's showing you that?
it's just it's his third year coming over, full time in the States. He was
Yeah.
good last year.
Yeah, he was sneaky good. Like, I mean, I don't think the Cubs got a lot of attention last year.
No, like I feel like they did on a team basis because they were, in the hunt. But I think individually, there's a lot of players on here that they didn't talk about. Like everybody talked about Bellinger because it's just a hell of a story.
Yeah.
But nobody talked about how Seiya Suzuki had a 3-2 F4 with a 126 WRC plus.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
And he only, he missed some time. He played 138 games.
Yeah.
I think he can hit. We all know that. And he actually sneaky's good in right field. Like he's kind of fast.
That's the part I didn't know as much. Because I know he's a gifted hitter.
He was the reason he came over is because he rakes.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
very sneakily is a pretty good athlete that plays a good right field. And I think this will go well into just the defense as a whole
Yeah.
conversation. Their defense is really good.
That's a really good defensive team, it's very NL Central, like Cardinals, Cubs having this great defense.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's a pretty exciting team right now.
Yeah, I mean, you can go around. I mean, go around the horn is the outfield. In center field, you have Bellinger, who's borderline elite. Ian Happ, who at the very, very worst is average, probably
Yeah.
above average. And then you have Suzuki, who grades out above average as well. You have the best defensive shortstop in the league in Dansby,
Yeah.
and probably the best defensive second baseman in the league with Nico.
Yeah. Crazy.
And then leads me into their third base problem because Nick Madrigal is the projected opening day third baseman.
Really?
Yes. Nick
I
Madrigal
would have
has
thought differently.
how many barrels do you think Nick Madrigal has in his career?
He's literally David Fletcher. In his career, barrels, how long
Whole
has he been?
career. They have 4 years with some injuries and COVID.
I want to say like 40.
4.
Oh my God.
4. He has
It's literally David Fletcher.
4 career home runs, 4 barrels.
He was a first round pick.
I somehow was a first. I know he was great in college, but his game was never going to translate.
Yeah, it was put the metal bat on the ball, not on the barrel.
He's a
Ugh.
great, and he does great. So here's the thing, though, keep going with the defense. The one thing that Nick Madrigal does give you is really good defense at third.
Yep, exactly.
You would rather him give you really good defense at a position that wasn't a power bat position.
Yeah, if he was a second baseman, maybe.
I know his profile played better when he was a second baseman, but with Nico, he's never going to play over Nico.
Yeah, yeah.
And I know they list him as the starter, but Patrick Wisdom is still here.
It's they have a lot of guys. Like, I mean, Morel can play third. Michael Bush,
Yeah, but Morel kind of plays third.
he's learning third.
Yeah. So apparently, I've read stories on Christopher Morel. So he has an absolute cannon.
He does, yes.
Cannon. Like he is 99th percentile arm strength every year, but apparently throws cutters. So
Oh, so it's the ball.
he throws like 95 across the diamond and it just goes,
Oh my goodness.
which is why he doesn't know where the fuck it's going,
Yeah.
which
Makes
makes total sense. But I love Chris Morel. He's so fun. I think everybody likes Morel. He's so athletic. He's penciled in as DH right now on Fangraphs. That's such a waste of athleticism. He needs to figure out a position.
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
He just has to.
He's a big dude. He could play some first, hopefully.
Yeah, I think honestly, I thought Michael Bush was going to be the third baseman when they traded for him, and they came out. Yeah, they came out pretty soon. It's like, no, he's playing first.
Yeah, that's why I was like, Michael Bush was a shortstop at one point.
Yeah, not a good one, but he was.
Yeah. Yeah. And anyone who was an okay shortstop can play third.
I think I was really surprised when they said he was just going to play first.
Yeah, I was too, honestly.
I mean, fine. They must feel really confident in the bat to just be like, yeah, he's going to be our first.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, and I'm cool with that because the only reason he hasn't been in the big leagues for the past 2 years is because he was with the Dodgers.
Yeah, it's like he's how old now? 27?
He's 26. He's older than Juan Soto.
Yeah, exactly. Like He should have probably been in the big leagues 2 years ago.
Yeah, for sure. At least a cup of coffee 2 years ago.
Yeah.
I'm I'm in on Michael Busch. He was a first round pick. He's been a top prospect for a while. The only
Is it?
reason he's not up is because he's with the Dodgers, and you make a trade for him at a position of need. I think you're not expecting him to go crazy,
I think it'll be good though.
but I think he's good. I think he's a good player.
Yeah, exactly.
You'll look back at the end of the year and you go, hey, Michael Busch is pretty good this year. That's
Exactly.
just how it is. And the rest of the team, like the Suzukis and the Bellingers and the Swansons, those are the guys that you expect are going to carry you.
Mm-hmm.
The catching situation is Yan Gomes and
Yep.
Miguel Amaya. So I'm a Miguel Amaya truther.
I am too.
Really?
So a non-Yan Gomes guy.
Okay, I'm not a non Yan Gomes guy. I'm like neutral, very neutral on Yan Gomes. I think he's certainly a valuable player. Actually, weirdly had like kind of a okay year. Um,
SSC product.
that's right. Barry University went to Tennessee, was really good at Tennessee, and then transferred to Barry.
Just left.
There's something that we don't know about that happened there.
Oh, it has to be.
It has to be. But yeah, that's some D2 baseball insider knowledge from us
The lore.
there. So I think Miguel Amaya ends up playing more than Yan Gomes. He's projected to be on the bench, but Miguel Amaya is 25, had a decently good showing last season, had a 94 WRC plus, which I know, hundreds league average, but for a catcher,
Yeah.
right. So that I think at least a couple years ago, the average was a 91 for catchers. So league average hitter, I think will defend well enough. The only reason that they would play Yan Gomes is because he's old and managers love old catchers that know the game and control it.
All managers love that for some reason.
Right. I mean, I get it. It definitely has some kind of value because it's such a common thing that happens. Right.
Yeah,
They wouldn't just do it if it was stupid.
I think the pitchers have some say in it too.
For sure. For sure. Because I mean, maybe this leads us into our pitchers pretty easily. Like maybe Justin Steele is
Yeah,
like, I want to throw to Young Guns.
exactly. Yeah.
And if Justin Steele at this point now, after the back-to-back seasons he's just had, if he wants Yan Gomes, you give it to him.
Yeah. I mean, Justin Steele, like kind of a guy I hadn't really heard of before 2 years ago. And now like look at him.
Yeah, I mean, 2022, 119 innings, 3.18 ERA. 2023, 173 innings, 3.06 ERA.
Like that's great.
That's really good. That is ace level production. Last year was in the running for, I mean, Cy Young until pretty late. Had a couple blow ups past last 2 starts of the season, and that kind of took him out of it and let Snell win it. I thought he was going to win it.
Yeah, he did have some bad starts at the end. I mean, that's also probably the most innings he's ever thrown.
For sure, the most innings he's ever thrown. For certain. I think it's silly. I don't think you can be like, yeah, he's going to have a 3 flat ERA again. I don't think that's going to happen. The projections don't love him. They don't love his fastball, but I do think that there's, projections can be wrong.
Yeah.
Models can be wrong.
His fastball, I mean, from just watching with the eyeball, isn't like elite in any way.
No.
But I mean, I still think he's a great pitcher.
Yeah, it's like a cut ride guy.
Yeah.
His fastball's got a little cut to it. It's got a little bit of ride to it. And I think that combo doesn't play well in the model sense, but I think in real life, you have enough of both of those things. And
if you're weird enough and it looks a little bit different, it's such a big advantage.
I think it's just weird. That's a lot of pitching, right? You throw something up there that's weird and it works because they don't see it.
There's something that a hitter's never seen before.
Mm-hmm. Then I'm slotting in Imanaga as the starting pitcher too.
I like that. Yeah.
I think he's going to be really, really good.
I've heard a lot of good things. I haven't obviously seen much, but I've heard a lot of good things.
Yeah. I mean, you can't see too much other than World Baseball Classic highlights is really the only thing you can watch. But his fastball is not going to light up a radar gun, but it has incredible shape to it.
Yeah.
And he led the NPB in in K percentage in Ks.
He's nasty.
Like he had more strikeouts than Yamamoto. I'm not saying he's gonna be better than Yamamoto, but he had more strikeouts than Yamamoto. The guy strikes people out, and I think his fastball is great ride, low release point, a lot of vertical break, and they don't throw high fastballs
No,
in
no,
Japan. And so his problem is a home run problem, which makes sense because if you're throwing low fastballs with a lot of ride, just a barrel, it's just. But
exactly.
in the States, we love we love high fastballs.
Yeah,
Well, I
exactly.
think the Cubs get him and they immediately say, "Hey, throw your fastball high in the zone," and I think he's going to strike a lot of people out.
Nice. I like that.
And am I worried about the windy days at Wrigley with a fly ball pitcher? Yes,
Yeah.
but you can't be like, "Oh, it's windy here. Sometimes we can't sign this pitcher."
Oh, exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
Jameson Tyon is your. This is where it starts to get boring.
Yeah.
So Tyon was quietly had a 3.7 ERA in 82 innings in the second half.
There we go.
I
Would
think
Jake?
he was awful in the first half too.
He was. Yeah.
Awful. But I think, realistically, would I like him to be your 4 or 5 and not your 3? Probably.
Yeah.
But he is a dependable pitcher. I think I view him in a little bit of a higher light than Giolito, but he's kind of like Giolito plus, where he is going to pitch.
Yeah.
And that's valuable. If he gets on the mound every 5 days, then that's valuable.
He's gonna go out there and pitch.
Yeah,
That's
the projections have him at a 4.5 ERA and 161 innings. I think that is just about dead on.
yeah. Yeah.
Then you have Kyle Hendricks. It's just still doing it.
I love Kyle Hendricks so much.
Yeah, it's weird because there's some slow throwing pitchers that I hate for no reason at all, and
Oh,
then
there's so many that I hate
but then some of them, like Kyle Hendricks, I love.
because he's so weird.
He's just so weird. I think they haven't
He also
projected enough.
could throw way harder.
He just, I am, and then the 5 is Jordan Wicks, who also Jordan Wicks slash Javier Assad. So
Yeah.
what concerns me with this rotation is that Justin Steele's not really a high strikeout guy either, but he gets by. He's a very good pitcher. Whatever. Imanaga is gonna be a strikeout pitcher, I think. Tyon does not strike a lot of people out. Kyle Hendricks does not strike a lot of people out. Jordan Wicks doesn't. Javier Assad doesn't. There are some bad fastballs in this rotation.
But that's what helps to have the best defense in the MLB.
Then that's kind of where I'm going is if you're gonna pick a team to have a lot of ground ball pitchers with, the Cubs are probably the team.
Exactly. Exactly.
And they are like the opposite of the Red Sox in terms of starting pitching depth.
Yeah.
So they have 6 guys that can realistically start games pretty comfortably, like with the combination of Wicks and Assad in your 5 spot.
Yeah.
Drew Smiley is a guy that's had starting experience. I think he's probably better in the pen, but
Kyle is
he's
still
there.
there, baby.
And then they have a lot of prospects. So Hayden Wisniewski
Yep.
was he came over in the Scott Efros deal a couple of years ago.
And he's pretty good.
He is pretty good. I think you could see him. He's right now is first guy up if somebody gets hurt.
Yeah.
He's kind of sitting there in that starting pitcher 6 or 7 role. And the ceiling's really not that high, but he certainly is the most MLB ready.
Mm-hmm.
Where it gets really exciting is Ben Brown and Cade Horton. Now, you won't see Cade Horton until later in the season because he just got a brief cameo in Double-A, but he is one of the best starting pitching prospects in baseball for a reason.
University of Oklahoma guy was a hitter.
Yeah, he was a hitter. He was drafted like top 10 overall after barely pitching in college.
After 1 year of pitching.
One
Yeah.
year of pitching, which just tells you how special the arm is, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And Ben Brown,
Throws real hard.
yeah, he strikes everybody out too.
Big.
The thing is just command, and it's funny. So 2023, so he starts the year in double. He throws 20 innings. He's striking out 13 and a half per nine with a 2.7 walk per nine, which is a good rate. He gets the call up to AAA, still strikes out 12.3 per nine, but you see the walk rate go to 6.3% or 6.3 per nine, which is very bad.
Yeah, yeah.
But how much of that is the automated balls and strikes?
I'm not sure. I don't know if you can put a lot with that. I still think it might have, affected a little bit, but I still think that walk rate would be pretty high without it.
Yeah, I've just seen it does definitely get a bump up when you get to go to triple with ABS, but not that much. Not 2 walks per nine to 6.
Yeah.
So there's a guy that if you're looking for something to watch in spring training, tune into Ben Brown, right? If he's got the command and control, if he's got the command, then
He's
he is
nasty.
certainly a guy that could be starting baseball games for them.
Yeah,
And Cade Horton is just a guy to keep tabs on in the season. If he is dealing in Double A, they're not going to waste bullets with him in the minors.
I agree. Yeah.
So, but that's a lot of starting pitching depth. So, as much as it's not exciting, 3 through 5 in the rotation, there is exciting things coming through, which is why I don't think you saw the Cubs go crazy this offseason.
Exactly. Yeah.
And the bullpen is just like good. They're just solid.
Yeah.
Alzolay, what do you? I mean,
I like Albert Alzolay.
yeah,
Slider.
he's just fun, right?
Yeah, he's cool. I mean, I like his story. He came up as a prospect starter, and they're like, "This guy's got one good pitch. Let's let's make him a reliever, basically." Which is, I mean, yeah, he looked good last year, and
Yeah,
he
he
gets hyped.
really he dialed into command.
Yeah, exactly.
He walked 13 guys in 64 innings. Like that plays,
That's great. Yeah, throwing mostly sliders too.
especially if you're not going to be the giant like K rate Craig Kimbrell type
Yeah,
closer. You're not going to walk anybody, then that's fine. I don't care. I
yeah,
don't care how you get them out.
yeah.
Hector Neris is a free agent I almost forgot about somehow. A guy that had a 1.7 ERA in 68 innings. I forgot about
Dude,
him.
Hector Neris just keeps going.
Yeah.
He's always around.
So what's funny, early career Hector Neris, I remember when he was with the Phillies, was very shaky. And I remember I was listening to somebody who was a Phillies fan, and he would always scream from the rooftops that Hector Neris is good and the Phillies defense is just awful. And I think for that, I mean, the Phillies defense is still bad, but even back then, it was still horrible,
Yeah.
which makes sense. I mean, ever since he left Philly, he's been a better pitcher.
Yeah, I mean he doesn't throw like overpoweringly hard. He does have that great splitter.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like he's not your prototypical like comes in, strikes out guys, like blows everyone away.
Mm-hmm.
Which, it works for the Cubs. The Cubs know what they're doing with this.
Seems like they have a type, but I guess the type gets broken here with Julian Merriweather.
Yeah, hard thrower.
Yeah, throws really hard. Dialed in the command enough last year to
Yeah,
to pitch 72 innings with a 3.3 ERA.
it's
I feel
great.
like he's still a ticking time bomb, though.
Yeah, you don't fully trust.
No, no.
Yeah, exactly.
Drew Smiley, we talked about, is just kind of there.
It's just Drew Smiley.
He's just Drew Smiley. You guys know Drew Smiley. He's Drew Smiley. Whatever. And then Mark Leiter Jr., Jose Quas. Is that how you say that?
Yes, it is. I think it is Quas.
Quas. He
Yeah.
was a UPS delivery driver.
He started throwing weird and it worked.
Yes, awesome. And was decent enough last year. Yency Almonte is an electric arm.
You just gotta dial that in a little bit.
Just dial it in a little bit. I think that was a great add-on to the Michael
Oh
Bush
yeah.
trade for them.
Yeah.
And then right now you have Javier Assad just kind of chilling in the long relief role, waiting for his chance in the starting role. And
Exactly.
I did this with the White Sox. I forgot about a big name who I'm already forgetting, but I won't forget this one. Luke Little.
Luke Little.
Do you remember the lefty that threw like 105 a couple years ago?
Yeah, yeah.
So he came up. Let me get this. Luke Little came up at the end of last year,
Yep.
threw 6 2/3 and struck out 12.
Oh my goodness.
In the minors, he is comfortably striking out 16 per nine. He should
That's
start. He should start the year in the bullpen.
yeah, of course.
He should.
Wow.
Yeah, Luke Little is a guy I think definitely has the potential to be a lights out closer. I think you just stick him in one of these middle relief roles, like low leverage to begin the season, and you just watch him go. If the
Mhm.
command sucks, you demote him. He's got options,
Yeah.
but he should start the season in the bullpen. It gives it a lot more upside instead of just, like Mark Leiter Jr., Drew Smiley, Jose Quas are just guys. Luke Little could be a dude.
Yeah. No, I like that. I like that.
So there we go. There's the team. The over under is 84 and a half.
That's a good line, dude.
I had to think about this for a long time.
I might I might take the over.
I'm going to take the over and I'm going to say that they win the NL Central.
Yeah, I was gonna say the reason I'm taking the over is because their division's weak.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. For sure. I think. Yeah, I mean, I don't think they're over by a ton, but I still think it's enough to win the NL Central.
Oh yeah, especially like with the Brewers losing some of the talent.
Mm-hmm.
Like I like it. I like this Cubs team. I think you can tell that they're like constructed in a certain way, which I think is always cool.
I was
Like your
about to say the same
team
thing.
is playing to its strengths,
I
and
was
they
about
went
to
out
say,
and got guys that add to that strength.
I think they're just they constructed the roster. They took a look, they sat down, they look at their roster and they go, what players would play well with the talent we currently have? And they got
Yep,
those players.
exactly. Yeah, which I think is really cool. I was a little surprised that I don't know how it worked with like trying to bring Stroman back, but he was good. Like I thought they should have brought Stroman back.
I think he was a great fit in Chicago. I kind of thought the same thing, but I think they were handicapped by Bellinger.
Yeah, they had to wait.
And in the end, waiting really paid off because he only paid him 80 million. So
Yeah, I mean that's best case, I think.
sneaky good offseason for the Cubs.
Yeah, no,
Sneaky good
I'm
offseason.
excited to go to some games this year because I'm here now.
Oh
So
yeah, God, I forget you're in Chicago.
so yeah, I can just go to Cubs games now.
Yeah, no, that'll be fun. You can watch Bellinger suck or win the MVP. One of the two.
Yeah.
All right, we're at 32 minutes, so I think it's probably time to get going.
What a review.
What a
You're welcome,
review.
Cubs fans.
Yeah.